Hello YouTube, Captain Mac here, and welcome back to our 787 Global Tour, or Global 787 Tour, whatever it is we're calling it. I don't remember. We haven't done it in a little while, and so I want to get back to these flights. I do really enjoy flying this aircraft, and today is the, let's see, what is it here? Today's the 14th. We're only a few days away from the longest live stream that I've ever put on. It's going to be it's going to ultimately come to about a 20-hour live stream. We're going to fly this beautiful bird here. Well, this is a 787-800. We're going to be flying a 787-900 from LA to Singapore, 8,700 nautical miles. We're going to live stream that. Now keep in mind, and I'll say it again during the live stream, I'm not staying awake for the whole thing. I'm going to bed at some point, guys. But it's going to stream the entire flight anyway. We're going to see how that comes out. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be the first time we ever tried anything like that. And it's FSX, so we're going to really hope we don't get any crash to desktops or anything like that. I actually contemplated changing it to a 747 flight just so that we could do it in P3D, but not going to happen. We're going to stick with it and see how it goes. But anyway, today we're going to be flying from ENGM, which is Oslo, Norway, down to EGCC, which is somewhere in the UK, and I don't remember where because I don't know. I just don't. Manchester or something like that. I don't remember. My apologies for that. But don't worry, I'll be looking again before we get down there anyway. Make sure I got the right airport. That being said, let's see. What flight are we on here? It's like flight number 6 in our global tour or something like that. I don't specifically remember. Oh, by the way, it was Manchester Airport. I had it right. So, oh, I'm feeling a little bit feisty this morning, folks. Let me get my charts back up over here. There's our Norway charts. Let me get my flight plan up over there. Okay, so it's like number 6, I think, in our global tour here. We got a long ways to go yet, but man, I love flying this thing. I really can't wait till this thing comes out for P3D version 4, because I just think that's going to be absolutely stellar. So I'm really looking forward to that. But anyway, here we are in our 787. There is a full flight tutorial for this aircraft. It is already up and available on my channel. There's the little link in the top right hand corner. If it hasn't already popped up, if you just move your mouse, you'll see a little eye like for information, and if you put your mouse over that, click on it, it'll take you right to the video that shows you how to take this aircraft from a cold and dark state all the way through an entire flight and back to a cold and dark state. Why does that matter? Because we're going to hop on the flight deck here in just a second. You're going to find that power is already on the aircraft. Everything is pretty much ready to go, except that we haven't put our flight plan into the FMC yet, and we still got a few last things to do before we push and start. I am no longer going to be doing every flight that I do from cold and dark back to cold and dark. That's just too much work, takes too much time. Why are they not loading the cargo up front? Really? New updates? Thanks for that. Appreciate that, Windows. Thank you. Thank you for wasting my time with updates that are designed to make my computer dependent upon you. I really appreciate it. If you can't tell, there's a little heartburn there. Anyway, why don't you say we hop on the flight deck here and let's get this flight started. I have a feeling GSX is not going to do its job properly, so we'll probably have to close that out. But anyway, let's hop on the flight deck and get going here. And here we are on the flight deck. And like I said, as you can see here, we've got power on the aircraft already. A lot of our work is already done for us. We've got doors open that don't need to be open because GSX is retarded and wanted to... Entry number 2 had to be open. There's nobody loading at entry 2, but entry number 2 had to be open. It's just annoying me. You know, I'm really hoping that FS2 crew releases that ground crew X thing pretty soon, because the fact of the matter is, and this is just my opinion, and you know, maybe I'm a little off base, maybe I'm not, but in reality, are you serious with GSX? How long has this thing been out now, and we still have these retarded bugs with it? Still doesn't do half the stuff that it's supposed to do. I have to reinstall it all the time because it acts up. Give me a break already. I'm just over this, you know. It's supposed to be this really helpful, awesome program. Sometimes it pushes the airplane back in the wrong direction. You go on the forums like, oh yeah, we know about these things, you know, this is just one of those little quirks. Enough is enough, right? Enough is enough. This program's been out for years. We're on P3D version 4 now. We got a million different things going on out here, and you're telling me you can't fix this thing yet? I'm kind of over it. I really am, and you guys know me. I don't want to bash the company because I know there's a ton of work that goes into it. I'm not trying to bash the company, but seriously, You can't do anything with this program to get rid of these ridiculous nonsense that we put up with all the stinking time? You're telling me you haven't been able to work this stuff out yet, or have you just not tried? Now, I know there's a ton of work that goes into, you know, programming anything, you know, and to just complain outright about bugs is just foolishness in my opinion. Expect that there's going to be bugs, but when you pay money for a product, expect that the company's going to work those bugs out and not put stuff in the forums like, oh yeah, it's a known issue, you're just going to have to reinstall your entire flight sim. Okay? That's not going to cut it. That's not the way it's supposed to work, people. I'm just frustrated with it. This is an example. Look. Why is this door got to be open to load passengers and cargo? It wouldn't load cargo over here until I open this door. Why? What is the point in that? Why does that door... Well, nobody knows. Nobody knows. Oh, and then somebody's going to say, oh, you got to go in and customize it for the aircraft. Really? So what you're saying is I have to pay money for a product that I have to do stuff to constantly just to get it to work normally. I'm over it. Tired. Okay, there's my rant. Enough is enough. Let's fly a 787 here. Okay, we've done everything in this aircraft. Hold on. Little woo-saw here. Let me calm down. Okay, I'm good now. I'm over it. Alright, you can see we've got everything done in the aircraft except that we haven't done the flight planning in the FMC yet because you guys said that's you guys want to see the flight planning in the FMC. So let's do the flight planning. So, let's see here. Go to the ident page first. Make sure that you've got the proper air-rack cycle, all of that stuff in there, which we do. Check your engine ratings, all that stuff. Good stuff. Position initialization. When you do the IRS alignment, you don't need to put the inertial position in here because this aircraft is set up to always know where you're at in the flight sim, which is fantastic. You could put the reference airport in there. I'm not really that worried about it, to be honest with you. Go over the route, and pretty sure that I didn't put the route in here. I didn't copy and paste it or whatever into the 787 folder. Not that big of a deal. We can just build the route ourselves. So let me just grab it over here real quick. There we go. So we'll just have to build it ourselves is all that means. So let's go back to the initial reference page, index, position, and route. Okay, so our origin is obviously going to be ENGM. Boy, I always have a hard time finding these letters, don't I? Okay, origin ENGM. And there you see, as soon as I did that, the airport popped up in our view here, which will help us with our taxi. They make a big deal out of saying, oh, don't use that for taxi. Well, we're going to partially use that. We're going to EGCC, which is Manchester. Just throwing that out there. I was right the first time. Runway's probably going to be 19 left, but we'll just hold out and double check that when the time comes. I'm going to go with, I'm just going to change, I'm going to start doing MAC 2336, not RAC. MAC 2336 is going to be my flight number on all flights from now on. That's what I'm going to do. Why? I don't know, because maybe I'm full of myself or something. No, it's not that. It's just easier, you know, but obviously you want to put in the flight number that is applicable in this case. So that's page 1 of the route, right? And then you could go to page 2, but we don't want to put in a via and a to yet because we haven't done our departure arrival. So click on departure arrival, departing ENGM. Let me double check the weather up over here real quick. You see, between P3D and FSX, I got a million different things on here. See, now that's just crazy to me. You're telling me the wind shifted 10 degrees in the last like 10 minutes? That's a little ridiculous. But either way, same runway is still applicable. It's going to be runway 19er left. Let me get my flight plan back up over there. So 19er left, and then I have chosen the Vybook 5C departure. That's not what we were originally scheduled for, but after looking at the departures, the one we were scheduled for was for 19 right. I didn't want to take runway 19 right just because it's mostly because it's a longer taxi. And so this is what we're going with. So back to route now, and you can see that that puts that in there, and then we can start building our route from Oaksat. So from there it's ATLAP. And I'll probably not even try to say most of these words because I have no clue. So ATLAP, and then direct to ALOTI, Alati probably. Alright, I lied. I'll try to say them. Alati. And then it's UM89, so Uniform Mic 89. Remember, for airways, they go on this side, and then the boxes mean that you must put a connecting point. And it's Rivet, R-I-V-O-T. We put that in there. Then we can go to the next page. Sounds like maybe they're done boarding. And then from Rivet, it's UM82. Uniform Mic 82. And that's going to take us to Robem, R-O-B-E-M. Sometimes I have to spell them out, or it's like there's no way I'm going to remember how to put that in there, right? There's Robem. UP16, Uniform Papa 16 is our next airway. And that one's going to take us to Nateb. I'm going to call it Nate B. Nate B. I'm sure it's probably an actual word. I don't know. Some air or not airways. Some waypoints make sense with their names, and others do not. And then of course, you know, we're up in Norway and then heading over to England, so it's hard to say. UP18 is next, and that's going to take us to Tilney, T-I-L-N-I. Right? Did I spell that right? Yes, I did. Tilney. And then from there, it's going to take us to our arrival, which is Dale 4D. Looks like there's a lot of Dale arrivals in here. There we are, Dale 4D. We're not going to choose the approach yet. So let's activate all of this, execute. Bam, go to performance initialization. You can see it's already... Oh, the safety brief. I was like, what is that noise? Alright, you can see it's already taken care of some information for us in here. Let's go ahead and put our reserves in. I'm going to put them at 10,000. I don't really know what the reserves should be on this. Cruise altitude is flight level 400 for us. And you know what the cost is next. Now on this one, it's actually between, I think, 0 and 1,000, so it should be 850 is the cost index rather than 85. In case anybody's wondering why I did that. Execute that, and then it says FMC pre-flight complete. However, we still want to go over to our this guy. EFB. Initialize the flight, go to performance, and the thrust rating is going to be takeoff 1 or 10% D rate. Runway condition is wet. It's snowing out. Hide the keyboard because it's annoying. And then what do we need here? Runway condition wet. Flaps are 5. It's not giving us the calculate thing yet. Flaps 5 works for me. What am I missing? I always miss something here, and then I'm like, huh? Oh, copy FMC data. There we go. Now we can calculate. Duh. And then that's going to tell us V1 at 133, rotate at 136, and then V2 at 144. So we can send this back over to the FMC. There we go. And then when we go over here, it's going to ask us to accept it. And you can see it took us directly to the takeoff page, right? And so we want to go ahead, we're going to accept this. So that gives us 133, 136, 144, but we still don't have our center of gravity, right? Well, that's over here, isn't it? Yeah, center of gravity is 19%. That's what's nice about this. So I don't have to figure it out. I can just put in 19 now. And this is going to give me my trim of 4.75. And I can come down here. No, wait, that's not where the trim shows up. I was going to go down there and do trim, but actually... trim will show up on here, 4.75, and you can see it's in magenta there, is saying we need to be at 4.75. Now remember, without hydraulics, it's using electric, so it's moving really slow. So I'm just holding the button down. It is moving though, and then when it gets to 4.75, we'll be good to go. There we go, 4.75. This and this match, we know we're golden, right? Fantastic. Okay, so that takes care of all our FMC pre-flight. Let's see, is GSX done out there? Sometimes it's hard to tell. See, now they're waiting for me to close the door. I know you can set it up so that they like tell you this stuff or whatever. Let me move this. It's just in the way now. So now you want me to close the exit 4. Alright. I guess that's this one. They probably want me to close all the doors now, right? Or did I just open a door? I think I just opened one. I'm just closing. I'm closing everything. I'm going to reset GSX if this doesn't work. I'm just over it. I'm over it, guys. Enough is enough, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have just closed the main cabin door.
Okay, I think we're probably good to go. We can probably get ready for push and start, right?
For the duration of the flight. Flight attendants, prepare doors for departure.
Yeah, it looks like it. Okay, so we've got everything ready here. Just as a reminder, so not as a reminder, we got 144 is our V2, right? So there's a little debate sort of going on. Do you put V2 in here? V2 plus 5, 10, 20. What do you put in here? I like V2 plus 5. And some people say, no, that's not what you're supposed to do. Oh, the manual says this, that, the other thing. But if you talk to real-world pilots, you're going to have some that are going to tell you, no, our company had us do V2 plus 20. Now, here's my understanding. Somebody please correct me if I'm wrong. The aircraft should automatically, based on this information down here, accelerate to V2 plus 20. It should automatically do that. It should not sit at 144, which is V2, or 149 for that matter. All right. So really, what are we setting this here for? It's just as it's a reminder for us, right? I'm sure there's a little more to it than that. Like, you know, I don't know if there's a problem with the auto throttles or something like that. We're trying to get the aircraft to V2. That's our climb speed. It's our minimum one-engine climb speed, right? So that's why V2 is important, along with 1,000 other reasons. But my question is, does it really matter if I have V2, V2 plus 5, V2 plus 10, or what? And if every company does it a little different, well, then Captain Mac does it as V2 plus 5. Okay, I think we got everything ready to go here. Let me just double check, make sure I didn't miss anything on my list, and then I'll hop back in here, and we will push and start. Alrighty, folks, we're getting ready for our pushback here. Let's go ahead and get GSX fired up first. No, I don't think we need de-icing on this one. Not going to worry about it. Nose right, tail left should be correct.
Due to icing conditions, please stand by for engine start until push completed and brakes set.
Okay, we've got really good de-icing on this. Here's my issue with de-icing with GSX. There's a de-icing area on this airport where you're supposed to go to de-ice your aircraft. You don't do it at the gate. That's not where they de-ice typically, right? So it'd be kind of cool if GSX, you know, I don't know, had it set up so that you could pull somewhere, go somewhere else on the airport or on the airfield and then de-ice. But anyway, enough about that. Let's take a look at our before start procedure here. Seatbelts are on. Seatbelt sign is on. Hydraulic pumps on auto. So we jump up top here. Hydraulic pumps, here we go, these two on auto. Right demand and left demand both on auto. Those two there. Did he say release parking brake? I don't think he said it yet. And then C1 and C2 are also going to go on auto. That's easy. You're right clicking these just so that you know. Make sure all the fault lights are extinguished on those, which they are. Check the fuel quantity and then turn on all the fuel pumps. We don't need center. Excuse me.
Release parking brakes.
We don't need center pumps because there's no fuel in the center tanks.
Commencing push. Due to icing conditions, please stand by for engine start until.
Oh, did I not disconnect external power? Oh, yeah, they were yelling at me because I left external power connected to the aircraft.
Around the flight deck.
Okay.
Cleared to start engines.
Actually, they said not to until we're done push back. Let's move on here. Fuel pumps are all on. We don't need the center pumps. Stab and rudder trim are good. We want to check the doors page down here. So go to the doors, make sure that all the doors are closed and armed, which they are. Beacon light needs to come on at this point. There we go. Beacon light is on. Transponder to transponder mode, and then we'll do the before start checklist. So transponders down here. Right clicker. Let's double check that here. So there we go, transponder mode. Okay, and then the before start checklist, we can do that right over here. So checklists are found in here. So passenger signs are on. MCP is set.
Takeoff. Taxi route is brake.
He's going to do his brief now.
Standard reject procedures. Will depart via the SID, climb to initial altitude. In the event of an emergency return, we'll coordinate with ATC. You'll fly the airplane out on the checklist and coordinate with the traffic control company and the flight attendants. Any questions?
Okay, so that takes care of that. Takeoff speeds are set, CDU pre-flight is complete, and then taxi and takeoff brief. And that's what he just did. We're going to do our own as we taxi out. So that takes care of that checklist, and that'll take us to the before taxi checklist, which we're not quite ready for yet. So So as we're, boy, that's a long push back there. So let's talk about real quick while we're still pushing back forever about the engine start procedure. The normal start sequence is both engines simultaneously with basically a 5-second separation between the two. So we want the secondary engine indications on the ICUS, which is this guy right here. Those are there. So you just press the engine button, those pop up. The left start ignition selector will be to start, right? So up top here, here's your starters right here. So you're going to go left one to start. You're going to wait. You're going to verify that auto start comes up on the ICUS. You'll see auto start will show up on here. Basically wait 5 seconds. So come down here, make sure auto start shows up, then go back up top and then turn the right engine starter to start. And that's it. Once that, once you've got the auto indication on here, you go ahead and put the fuel into run. And that's it. Simple as that. So it starts with engine 1 and then goes to engine 2. We're used to doing engine 2 then engine 1, but ultimately we're doing both at the same time in this one. So let's wait till they give us the clear to start engines and we'll fire them up.
Clear to start engines.
Okay, there we go. Now we can start the engines. Boy, they took their time on that, huh? So starting with the left engine,
Okay,
left click it
engine.
to start. Waiting for auto start to appear on here, which it hasn't shown up yet for some reason, which is kind of interesting. It should already say auto start, but we can go ahead and we can introduce. Oh, you introduce fuel, then it shows auto start. My bad. Okay, I read it wrong. And then left click this one, introduce fuel, and now that one says auto start as well, and that's it for the engine start procedure. Now we just wait for them to start, and they'll be ready to rock and roll.
Before taxi checklist.
You just calm yourself, son. I'll get to the before taxi checklist when I'm ready, okay? Alright, let's take care of our before taxi flows first. We're still actually technically waiting for, well, no, it says running now. So once that says running, that should display for about 30 seconds, but that means we're good to start our before taxi flows. So first things first, the APU needs to come off. That's this guy right here. Engine anti-ice as required. We're going to leave it on auto, and it is needed, but because it's on auto, we don't actually have to worry about it, which is nice. We do need to check the recall. Come down here, cancel recall button right here. Recall again, it says TCAS is off. That's alright, we expect that. Let's check our flight controls. So this one right here, boom, flight controls. And we're going to go full left, full right, and neutral. And all the way up, all the way down. And if you can't see that, that's right down here, guys. Let me pop that up for you. So here's your elevators here, all the way up, all the way down. It looks like it's not quite going all the way up, doesn't it? But that might be because of the trim. And then rudder, full left, and full right, and neutral. So I'm hoping that that has to do with the trim, to be honest with you. I'm not really sure, so we're going to find out, though, aren't we? Okay, moving on from here. Radio panel is set. Flight deck door is closed and locked. What else? Flight control check complete. Blah, blah, blah. Flap set. It's funny because the little manual they had, like, has the flows twice in a row, so then you have to go through it again. Flap should be set to 5, right? So, maybe. Wow. So they just didn't want to move, huh? Okay, well, we'll just use this then. Flaps to 5, and let's hope that we don't have any issues with the flaps acting up. So I just used the button instead of the lever because clearly the lever's not working properly, and that's just, I'm not going to deal with that. Let's see, CDU set up. We're pretty much good to go, so let's go ahead and take care of that before taxi checklist. So just click on checklist here. Anti-ice is good, recall is checked, auto brakes are RTO, flight controls are checked. Ground equipment is clear, and that'll take us to our before takeoff checklist, which will be flap set. So we're good on that as well. Put this one on the CDU, put him on the active legs page, and ours is on the takeoff page where we want to be, and that takes care of everything except getting those taxi lights on. Taxi lights and runway turnoff lights can all come on. I'm going to get my track IR on, double check everything real quick, and then we're going to taxi out and get this bird in the air. Alrighty, folks. we're ready to take off. Well, not take off. We're ready to taxi right now. If we take off from here, we're going to be in trouble. Plus, we don't have enough taxiway for our takeoff run. So, track iron coming on a little jump here. There we go. And let's get those brakes off. Fantastic. Bring in a little bit of thrust here. And let's get this bird rolling. She rolls pretty easy too. So, and as we start to, as we start our taxi here anyway, what do you say we go ahead and take care of a taxi and departure briefing really quick? Alright folks, quick look at this taxi route. We're parked right off the end of this little finger or pier here, whatever you want to call it, and we're pointed this way right now. So we're going to scoot up here to Foxtrot, over to Sierra, and then we'll take this all the way down to the end to Bravo 9, and that's where we're going to hold short runway 19er left. Let's take a look at what our departure is going to be today. So as I already mentioned, we made a change to the departure. It's going to be the Vibic 5C departure, which isn't what we were originally planned for, but our original departure was only for runway 19 right, and I didn't want to take that. So we're going to basically swing around immediately here to Vibic, excuse me, and then hang a right to 113 degrees out to GM 449, and then another right to 180 degrees out to Tumgu Erlum Enepo, and then Oksat, and then on course from there. Oslo approaches on 118.475 airport elevation. Excuse me again. A lot of Captain Mac coughing for you today. Is 681 feet. Now it does say on here transition altitude is at 7,000 feet, and then it tells us right down here, initial climb clearance to 4,000. Expect further climb by Oslo approach. Since we're not using ATC at the moment, we're not worried about that, so we're just going to zip right on by that and assume that Oslo approach already gave us clearance. Now keep in mind, I am in the market for a proper ATC program, but it must be capable of not only providing good ATC, but handling the AI traffic from UT Live. So if anybody knows something that'll work in both senses, then please let me know down in the comments. Alrighty folks, we got our holding short of the runway here. We are just short of the ILS hold short line because of the weather. Let's go ahead and take care of our before takeoff procedures here. Departure briefing is completed. Departure announcement is completed. Flaps are set. Transponder needs to go to TARA. Right click it a couple times until it gets over there. And then it tells us we got traffic there. There's actually two aircraft. Let me pop this up so you can see them. We got two aircraft lined up over here, kind of waiting on us. That's fine. We'll get going here pretty quick. Let's see what else. Radar terrain VSD as required. So what we actually want is the weather radar on. So I'm going to click on weather here, and we'll see what kind of weather we have out in front of us. We can also go ahead and crank this range out a little bit. We're not going to need it. I think right there will be good for now. And perform the before takeoff checklist. Now, a couple things that aren't on that list there. Landing lights need to come on. There we go. Strobe lights need to come on. The dome lights can go off at this point. And let's hop down here and let's look at that. Oh, which one? Oh, I don't like that at all. I completely forgot which one. There's the dome light. Where the lights are for down here. Let me see if I can find them here real quick. There we go. That's floodlights though. I just want the backlights. There we go. Backlights. That should do it. Turn the dome lights off. That sort of did it. Did I miss something here? I must have missed something. I can see well enough to do it, but you guys probably can't see it very well, so my apologies. There's the before takeoff checklist is good. That's after takeoff checklist, so we're good there as well. And I'm gonna have to figure out where those lights are because I forgot. I'm good down here, but I got nothing on here, right? That's kind of weird, isn't it? So I'll figure that out later. It's not a big deal right now. Track hire coming on, a little jump here. Boom, there we go. Let's make sure those brakes are off. Double check our approach path is clear. It looks like it is. I don't see any traffic on the radar except, wait a minute. What's this? No, these are the guys that are behind us over here. Yeah, that's those guys over there. That's nobody on the runway. It's just because we zoomed it out, I guess. Because I don't see anybody on the runway there, and I don't see anybody on the approach path. So I think we're good, guys. So let's go ahead and get her going out here. So
approaching 19 left.
We're so light right now that I'm not using any thrust at all. Like no thrust. And it's already picking up speed here. So that's why I'm not using any thrust. I just let it do its thing. That's why we're doing a takeoff one. Swing her around here. Those guys are going to come lining up right behind us. Bring in just a little thrust.
Left.
Plenty of runway to work with here. There we go, looking good. Take off. There's Toga. Not doing anything. Maybe I don't have the thrust high enough. Let's try it again. And Toga. Why am I not getting Toga on this? And I forgot where the hidden Toga button is. Where's Toga at, you guys? There we go. Toga.
Check thrust.
That's weird. Why is my Toga button not? I guess I forgot that my Toga button doesn't work or something. Okay. Thrust set. There's 80 knots. Airspeed is obviously alive. Got a low crosswind there. Trying to get her back centered up.
B1. Rotate.
Here we go.
B2.
Up and away. Looking good. Nice. Positive brake gear coming up. Yeah, see all the lights on here. I'm missing. There's a light switch somewhere that I'm missing, and I feel like an idiot about it. I'll find it eventually.
Flaps 1.
It's over here, isn't it? Well, yeah, there we go. Ah, bingo. Alright, you said go to flaps 1. No, can't go to flaps 1 yet, not according to what I'm seeing on here. Flight director is saying to climb a little faster, and this is telling us we're between 1 and 5. We're at flaps 5, so we can be at flaps 5, but we don't go to flaps 1 until we get above that flaps 1 speed. Alright, so we'll be making a left turn here shortly. This is not a difficult airplane to fly at all, guys. I really enjoy flying this thing too. I really do. Should be making our turn here already, right?
With our flight underway, I'd like to once again welcome you aboard. I'd also like to...
Why is it delaying that turn? It's not vectors.
You will be earning valuable miles.
It's not vectors, right?
If you're not a member, please visit
Nope,
us at
it's not vectors.
GIGABYTE.com.
But it wants us to stay on runway heading for some reason. I'm not going to do that.
After takeoff checklist.
First class approach.
We're not ready for that yet, bub.
Wine and margaritas can be purchased with a debit or credit card.
I always get, I don't understand why the flight director sort of gets on its own program here sometimes. Ooh, that speed's dropping, huh? It'll do that going through a turn. Alright, well, let's get her around here. We want to get her on a direct course to Vibuk. Looking pretty good here. Again, the flight director wanted us to keep going straight, but it's not vectored, so I don't really know why, to be honest with you. Did that other airplane like take off immediately behind us? Okay, let's level her off here. Yeah, see, the flight director went back to center. Not really sure why that is, but let's go ahead and get the autopilot on here. There we go.
Autopilot on.
Autopilot is on. Let's
Autopilot
turn on.
on.
Oh, it's because I didn't arm LNAV and VNAV. See, I forgot to do that. That's probably why. Bring that range out just a little bit there. Let it do its thing. Yeah, I didn't arm the LNAV and VNAV. It's not on the checklist, and so I didn't do it. So it's obviously it's a good idea to arm those before departure, you guys. Just in case you're wondering there. Let's get airport off so that we have just traffic and weather. I don't even think we need the weather on right now. We're above it already. So just the traffic on there. I think that'll do for us. Now we can go to flaps 1. Almost at 10,000 feet here. And then see, when we're above the flaps up speed, then we can go to flaps up, right? But I want to make sure it doesn't go above 250. It shouldn't, because it's set in the FMC not to. So let's go ahead and try flaps up, and let's make sure it doesn't go above 250 here. It shouldn't. There's 10,000 right there, so landing lights can come off now. Oh wait, turn off lights can come off, and taxi lights can come off. I don't know if I got them off or not. There we go. This is where dome light helps, so let's go ahead and turn the dome light on real quick. Okay, all those are off as they should be. Strobe lights are still on. That's what we want. Track IR coming off here. Little jump. There we go. And let's see here. Let me get to the correct page for after takeoff here. Alright, looking at our after takeoff procedures. Gear up, which it is this guy right here. Yeah, the whole thing with the lights. Remember, panel lights are down here. So it's this knob down here is our panel lights, right? So that turned it off, and then yeah, so on and off is what you get. And then this one is floodlights, but we don't really need the floodlights, but it doesn't hurt to have them either, does it? Okay, gear is up, flaps are up, engine anti-ice is on auto, and we can jump into our after takeoff checklist down here real quick. And there you go, after takeoff checklist. Landing gear up, flaps up, we're good to go on that. The throttle's getting in the way of clicking on the normal button there, but we're not ready for descent, obviously. So go back to our CDU. I like to put this one on the progress page, and I like to put this one on the legs page. That gets us all set up, and that means, ladies and gentlemen, you guessed it, it's time for some of that obligatory elevator music. Alright, our arrival today, folks, is going to be the daily 4D arrival, or Dale 4D. We are coming in out here at Tilney, heading at 192 degrees down to Gasco, and then it's supposed to go to Begum, SLP, or Satel. Not sure if that's two different waypoints or what, and then down to Daly. However, we're going to come down here to Gasco, and then we're going to break off from there and basically make direct for the start of our approach over here. And the reason for that is really how the approach is set up. And I'll explain that when I do the approach briefing, but basically I just simplified it a little bit. Not necessarily the right way to do it, not necessarily the wrong way. You might get vectors to do just that from ATC, but you know, it is what it is. I decided to do that for the sake of this flight, and so that's what we're gonna do. Sounds good, right? ATIS is gonna be on 128.175, airport elevation 257 feet. If we were continuing down to SLP, it is very explicit here in big bold lettering with colors, cross SLP or 3 minutes before holding facility at 250 knots or less when at flight level 140 or below. So pretty straightforward. Transition level set by ATC. Away we go. Alrighty folks, as you can see, we're going to be on our top of descent here in no time. And the first thing I like to do is just go ahead and change our MCP altitude. And what this does is this allows us to worry about the rest of the descent checklist items, or the procedures and then the checklist itself. And we know that in the Boeing aircraft it'll start to descend on its own. So, you know, we want it at 3,500. That's where I want to set it at. You'll see why when we do the approach briefing here shortly. Now let's look at these descent procedures. Recall and notes is first, so we hit the cancel recall. There's nothing to note on there, nothing popping up. We want to take care of reference speed, so we come down here, click on initial reference. We're going to land flaps 30 and 140 knots. So we'll take that and then put it down in here, and we should be good to go. And that takes care of that part, easy enough. And you can see we're going to be on the top of descent here really quick. So that takes care of entering the VREF on the approach reference page. Landing distance and auto brakes. So we've got plenty of runway to work with. We could probably get away with no auto brakes on this one. And the simple reality is there's no point in really using. So on this, 1 is not really practical for our brakes. 2 and 3 provide adequate deceleration rates for most routine operations. So we can go with, you know, let's just use 2 or 3. So let's use auto brakes 2. Right click it. It doesn't roll with the mouse wheel. So we'll go auto brakes 2 just because that's kind of a standard, right? At least that's my understanding based on the manual here. If somebody knows otherwise, please feel free to let me know down in the comments. Radio and barrel minimums as needed for the approach. So you're going to see on our approach brief 449 is our minimums. And we're going to have that, what is it? It's on radio right now. We're going to put it on barrel. That's 449 feet. And let me just, let me pop this up so you can see it here. Move it over to the side a little bit. So the closest we're going to get is 450. Because it goes in increments of 10. So 449, 450, those are going to be the same as far as I'm concerned. The approach briefing will take place here once we get done with all of this. Now we take care of the descent checklist. So recall has been checked, notes have been checked, auto brake is set, landing data and VREF along with minimums is all set, and then the approach briefing to be completed once we start our descent here, and we are good to go on that. Next checklist will be the approach checklist. We don't need to worry about that right now.
Please check that your seatbelt is
And there you go,
securely
we're at
fastened.
top of descent, and why don't we go ahead and jump right into that approach briefing, and then I will see you guys back here again when we get close to final approach. Alright, taking a look at our approach here then, it's going to be the ILS runway 23 right approach. ATIS on 128.175, Manchester radar on 118.575. Towers on 18.625 and ground on 21.850. Localizer frequency is 109.5 with a final approach course of 233 degrees. Glide slope intercept 4 nautical miles out from the localizer at 1,580 feet with an ILS decision altitude of 449 feet. Airport elevation 257 with runway elevation at 249 feet. Missed approach, climb to 3,500 feet straight ahead until passing 750 feet or on top of the localizer beacon. And then inbound, which is 0.3 nautical miles from MCT inbound, whichever is the later, then turn right onto track 357, then as directed. Now this is important here for separation from departing traffic from runway 23 left. We need to expedite our climb through 750 feet before commencing right turn onto 357 degrees. In case of complete radio failure, see 11 tag 01. So the way this approach is actually set up is you come in out here over the VOR and then you fly essentially a back course until you make your procedure. I believe this is what we call a procedure turn. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but that's a procedure turn, right? And then swing back around. And so what I did is I basically removed that from the equation so that we come in right out here. We're supposed to be coming in at 12 nautical miles from the localizer there and intercepted 3,500. But it looks like it ends up bringing us in right about here at 8 nautical miles out, and so I'm going to have to use the heading mode to get us out here just a little bit further so that we don't get below or above the glide slope actually. So either way, intercepted glide slope should be at 3,500. It'll be a little different for us, that's okay. 233 degrees on our final approach course. Again, decision altitude 449 feet with a runway visual range minimum of 550 meters. I think we're pretty much good to go on that. So off we go. Alright folks, we're going to be coming up on our approach here pretty quick. Little surprise for you. Somebody asked me to use the HUD. I never really use it in here, but I'm going to give it a go and we'll see what happens. So let's get a little bit of drag out there, help this aircraft slow down. Let's take a look at our approach checklist. Altimeters need to be set, which they are, 29er, 9er, 1. Let's see what else. Runway, turn off, strobe, night lights, all that stuff comes on here shortly. We're just about to 10,000 feet. So we'll be throwing those out here shortly. And then it's just about flaps schedule. So all of that's good. Let's take a look at our approach checklist really quick while we're slowing down here. Checklist says altimeter set, which they are. Fantastic. And there we go. Extend speed brake as required. Yeah, we got that. Okay, and then that'll take us to our landing checklist, which we don't need quite yet. So back to the CDU there. Coming up on the speed we want to be at here. Now I'm also going to try and remember to leave the auto throttles on all the way until touchdown. Supposedly that's the way to do it with this airplane, along with the 777, 747, all of those. So let's get our lights on here. Looking fantastic. Coming up on our speed here. Let's get that speed brake out. Alright, we're looking good. Obviously I'm still using my primary displays down here. I won't actually start using the HUD until we get on to final approach there. I believe we can bring in that first setting of flaps. There it is, flaps 1 coming in. We could probably bring in the second setting of flaps too, to be honest with you. Let's find out for sure. I think this is the key I'm looking for. 250, 230 for the next setting of flaps. So and we're going to need speed brakes. It's telling us we're over speed right now because we're supposed to be at 240 and 250 is the max speed for this flap setting. So let's get her slow down a little bit more here. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and take control of the speed. And I'm going to bring it down quite a bit more. Let's bring it down to 200 knots. Actually, let's go down to 180. I just think the speed schedule is just way off on this thing, to be honest with you. So 180 on that. We've got about 20 miles to go. It's going to take a little time to slow down anyway. We are still on VNAV path, which is where we want to be, and everything's looking fantastic, to be honest with you. We've got our, let me just show you down here real quick. If you go to your nav radio, there's your ILS frequency right there. So you want to make sure that's in there along with the final approach course. If for any reason it's incorrect, then change it, obviously. I've never had to change it, so I'm not even sure if you can, but there you go. Excuse me. Okay, so we're good on that. We're looking good here. Everything's looking good. Coming in nicely. Frame rates are looking beautiful. I'm loving it. Having a good time here. So let's hope that speed keeps coming down, because it certainly needs to. Wow, I'm just coughing like crazy. Let me get a drink here real quick. I don't know if that's going to help or not, but there we go. You can see our flight path vectors moving all over the place here. I'm not really sure what that's all about, but I'm not too worried about it either. I have never flown with the HUD in an airplane like this. Now, I have flown with a HUD because I fly in DCS World as well, which I'm hoping to start doing some videos on that in the not too distant future. But yeah. Let's well, we still got a little ways to go. Let's just let it keep trying to slow down. Yeah, so hopefully I'll get some videos going on DCS World pretty soon. I just picked up the Harrier, and I know that they're releasing the F-18 sometime a little bit later this year, which I'm really excited about. So I'm really hoping to get an opportunity to make some videos of that, but it is a whole different animal when it comes to flying military aircraft versus civilian aircraft. So for those of you who are not familiar with that, just mark my words on it. It is not the same thing, not even close. Flying's still flying, but ultimately it is substantially different. So let's go ahead and get that next setting of flaps in now. That'll add a little more drag and help to slow us down a bit more. 230 is our max speed for those.
Ladies and gentlemen, in preparation for landing, please return all seat backs and tray tables to their upright and stowed position. Ensure all
I'm going to switch this guy over to the checklist mode here, and that way when our landing checklist is complete, let's go ahead and get those spoilers out of there now.
Thank you.
Let's arm the spoilers, and you should see that checks off right there. Speed brakes are now armed. Fantastic. We're looking good here. Now it's supposed to be at 3,500. It looks like it's, yep, just about at 3,500. So we're looking really good there. We're down to 180 knots where we want to be. We can bring in the next setting of flaps. And then we'll hold that flap setting at 180 knots until we get onto the glide slope. And again, we're looking for 30-degree flaps or full flaps and 140 knots for our approach. And don't worry, I've set a camera view just for this guy up here. So fantastic. This is going to be fun. This will be my first time using the HUD. I'm really excited about it, actually. It should be pretty cool. Now watch, I'm probably going to make a complete mess of things because I'm so used to not using it in this type of aircraft. So it should be interesting. Okay. Alright, so I have a feeling that we're gonna... I just feel like we're gonna be above the glide slope here. This shows us as below it right now. There you go, you can see the glide slope diamond on there. But it just feels like we're coming in so close here that we're gonna end up being below the glide slope. It's supposed to be at 10 nautical miles out. I don't know, that just feels really weird to me. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna bring it over here just a little bit. I want to make sure that we don't let's hit the select button there. I want to make sure that we don't miss the glide slope there. That would not be good. Wow, that little freeze there was interesting, huh? Alright, so hold her at 3,500 there. There we go. I like that a little better. I just felt like going in as close as we were before making the turn to final. I just felt like 3,500 was going to be way too high. So I'm keeping an eye on our diamond here and here, because you can see it's moving just ever so slightly. It's moving. So I definitely don't want to end up below, I'm sorry, above the glide slope. We want to start below for a proper intercept, but I don't want to be above it. So I'm just keeping an eye on it, see if I need to descend anymore. And I think it's just because all those waypoints just weren't in the FMC's approach plan. So, and because they're not named waypoints, you can put them in, but it's a little more difficult, and I just didn't bother. So, my bad. Either way, coming up on it here. So we got our vertical speed as a nice digital readout there. I like that. Makes it really easy to tell what your vertical speed is. We're not too sharp for localizer intercept, so I'm not overly concerned about it. We're going to hit the localizer button here pretty quick, or shortly. What are we at? About 5 miles out. We'll wait until we get just a little bit closer. Should be able to probably see the airport. Should be right there. And now I'm just filling time with commentary. That's what it's all about, right? Commentary. Either way, getting a couple little chops in there, but overall our frame rates aren't terrible. Not a lot of traffic out and about. I've got the traffic tuned down a little bit. So, and of course this is FSX, so 32-bit vice the 64-bit that we've come to know and love with our P3D version 4, and hopefully in the near future X-Plane 11 once I get some upgrades done to the PC, and then also DCS World is 64-bit for those of you that are unaware. This little dotted ring is 3 nautical miles, so we know we're about 3 miles out from our localizer intercept now, so that's good. You can see there's our diamond starting to creep down just a little bit, right? See, and that was my concern there. So I'm going to bring my altitude down a little bit further. Let's go ahead and let's click on that. See if she comes down. There we go. Bring her down to 3,000. Now I know that's not the intercept point, but again, we're missing some waypoints in there, and I didn't take the time to build those waypoints. So that's my bad. It's not the right way to do it. My apologies on that, but it's not horrid either. It's not like we've committed the ultimate crime here. All right, let's hit the localizer button now, and then when it grabs, as soon as it grabs the localizer button, we'll hit the approach button over here, and then as soon as we're on glide slope, we'll go ahead and drop the landing gear and reduce our speed down to 140 knots. And that should work out nicely, and then we can switch to the HUD, and I've got the autopilot button mapped, so hopefully I can turn off the autopilot using my Yoke instead of trying to click on this button down here, which is not easy to do. So just waiting on localizer intercept now. We should get an indication up here. You can see localizer is armed down here. We're still on heading select, and it's the same thing down here. Localizer is in white down here. So once the localizer is captured, the aircraft will start to turn, and localizer should become wow, I just, like, there's the localizer capture. I just realized that one of the volumes was turned down on my mic, and I really hope that it wasn't reducing my the volume of my voice as far as speech was concerned for the video. You guys know what I'm talking about. If it was, I'm not going to go back and re-record it. But here we are. We're about to intercept the glide slope. There's glide slope intercept now. We can go ahead and drop the landing gear. That's going to help the speed come down quickly. And we're going to bring the speed down to 145 knots. And go ahead and bring in the next setting of flaps.
Please be seated for arrival.
There's flaps 20. Take it to 25. And let's take it all the way to flaps 30 now. Let's hop down here and take a quick look at our checklist. There it is. Landing checklist is complete. And so the next checklist will be our shutdown checklist. Put that back on the CDU. Go to the proper view here. Track IR coming on, little jump. Big jump. And there we go. We've got a nice view of our track IR there. So 2-3 right, that's where we're flying into. We've got the wind, you can see 17, 16 knots coming off the left side there. This is our runway dead ahead here, and so this is where, to me, the HUD is a little difficult to deal with. Right now the autopilot's got things, but you can see the flight path vector. Boy, we're getting some chop in there, huh? Flight path vector is trying to hold on to the runway essentially right there. And then, yeah, so I'll try flying it in with this, but I gotta say, I don't know, it feels a little awkward to me, to be honest with you. But it is what it is. So speed's looking good at 145. We're gonna leave the auto throttles on all the way until just before touchdown, and then by reducing thrust on the physical throttles, we should get an automatic thrust reduction anyway. It should automatically reduce throttles to idle at about 20 feet. So right now we're looking good. We're on glide slope. We can probably take the autopilot off. My concern here is that this is blocking my view. Is there a way to tune this down a little bit? Not that I see. HUD brightness. No, doesn't let me do anything with the HUD, does it? That's kind of a shame because, I mean, that's where I'm trying to get to, but I should be able to do a visual approach here, right? I don't know. Anyway.
Landing checklist.
We've already done the landing checklist. We're good on that. So I guess we can take off the autopilot here. And we'll try and hold this 700 feet per minute, minus 700 feet per minute. And keep her on course there. It just feels awkward to me because I can't really quite see the runway there. It's a little bit obscured, and I kind of dislike that, to be honest with you. So we're drifting a little to the right here, it looks like. There we go. We want to get that flight path vector lined up back on the runway there.
1,000.
Alright. Callouts are looking good. There should be a way to declutter this thing a little bit, I think, but it is what it is. Not too shabby though.
Approaching 2-4 right.
So we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna go ahead and say just right out the gate, I'm not a big fan of this HUD. It just feels like it's blocking too much of my view there. But we're doing all right. So let's take her all the way in here.
Approaching minimums 500. Minimums.
There's minimums. Continue.
400.
See, now the flight path vector just sort of switched and went out of the way there. That's kind of weird.
300.
Get back over there.
200.
Got a little high there. Just a little.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
A little bit of a bump on the landing there. Little reverse thrust coming in. Oh, she slowed down quick. There's 80 knots. Get rid of that. Or get rid of the reverse thrust anyway. Let's go ahead and tilt that thing up out of the way there. Change our view down here where it belongs. And we'll take the next exit up here. Not a big deal. Take this exit up here, figure out where we're at, take care of our after landing checklist.
For the next few minutes.
What are we at
So
here?
please remain seated with your seatbelt
It's like
fastened
Bravo?
until the
Is
captain
this the right
turns
way
off
to go?
the fasten
Yeah.
seatbelt sign.
Pretty sure it is.
At that time, please
I've never been to this
around your
airport
seating
before.
area, in the seat pockets and overhead bins for all personal
Alright, well, a
belongings
little
that you
chop
brought
there.
on board.
Not liking that,
Please
but
take care when
there's an
opening the
airplane
overhead
taxiing
bins,
out.
as the contents may have shifted during
You can
flight.
get the, they're going to be using the other runway apparently. Always obnoxious. Well, that's why you get landing lights in your face, buddy. Strobe lights can come off. Bring her all the way up around the corner here. Not too bad on the landing, guys. I'll take a look at the landing right here in just a second. Let's get her to stop here real quick and take care of this after landing checklist, and then we'll worry about what our landing rate was. Alright, nice easy stop here. We don't want to slam on the brakes too hard. Fantastic. Let me just throw the parking brake on for a second so we don't have to worry about it. Track IR coming off, a little jump. There we go, and let's look at our after landing checklist. We know, or our procedures anyway, we know that the APU is going to need to come on. We've already got the lights off. Did I land with the dome light on? I did. Shouldn't do that. Shouldn't land with the dome light on. When are you guys supposed to call me out on that? But anyway, dome light was on. We made a mistake on that. Okay. Let me get to the right page here and make sure that we get everything taken care of. So after landing flows, the speed brake needs to be down. Let's see, it should automatically go down, but it did not. I guess it doesn't automatically go down. Flaps need to come all the way up. Transponder needs to go to transponder mode. 2 clicks on the left side of the mouse. APU on, anti-ice stays at auto. Lights as required, and then weather radar off, which it already was. Let me just glance at our landing rate here. Not bad. It was minus 144, a little sort of drop in at the end there, but not the most horrible landing I've ever had, right guys? Some of you are going, yeah, okay, whatever. Alright guys, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna taxi this aircraft in here real quick, and then once I get her into a parking gate, we'll hop back on here and we'll take a look at shutting her down. Alrighty folks, we got us a parking space here. Let's go ahead and take a look at this parking flow, or shutdown flow it's called. So the parking brake is set, fuel cutoff switches need to be in the off position. We've already got the APU up and running. Let's just double check. So the APU is on, APU gen is on, so that's what we want. So we can go ahead and kill the engines now. Shut both of those down. Seatbelt sign can come off. Boy, I got like a cough just sitting in the back of my throat here. There we go. Cabin chime real quick just because. Let's see what's next here. Hydraulic pump. We might as well stay up top here. Hydraulic pumps off. Goodness. Hydraulic pumps off. Okay, so what are we talking about here? It just says hydraulic pumps off, so I'm assuming that's all of them, right? Yeah, so left electric demand, C1, C2, then right electric demand. So here's the electric demand. So this one, then these two, then this one. And then engine pump switches are left on, so that's these two here. So all the electrics come off, but the engine pump switches are left on. Flight deck door power switch goes off. We'll leave that as is for now. These can all come off here. And what else goes? See, anti-ice is good. Beacon needs to go off. And the flight directors, didn't we already turn the flight directors off? Maybe not. Nope, flight directors off. Auto throttles can come off. And transponder goes to standby. That's down here again. Left click it a couple times to the left there. And then external power is required. So if we go ahead and hook up the external power now by clicking on this one here. There we go, external power. Close that out. External power is now on. And then that will take us into our shutdown checklist. Let's just double check our checklist down here. I don't know why it went away for a second. Shutdown checklist. So park and brake is supposed to come off, I think, but we're going to go with that. And then secure checklist is IRS is off, emergency lights off, packs off. But we're not going to actually secure the aircraft right now. We're going to leave it as is. Let's grab GSX real quick and request deboarding. Request deboarding. There we go. Swissport will be just fine for us on that. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make it real simple, since it's always giving me a hard time of which doors to open. So I'm just going to open all of them. I know that's probably not what we're supposed to do, but we're going to go ahead and open them all up anyway. Maybe. Left and right. Are they opening? Hey, there we go. We finally got them open. So we got all the doors open. I know that's not the right way to do it, but GSX is always giving me a hard time. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap it up for this one. Other than having lots of doors open that don't need to be, we could probably close those now. So this one can be closed, and this one can be closed. And then we could probably close all the doors on this side, right? Yep, that one, that one, that one, and that one. And now we've got the proper doors taken care of, right? Yeah, there we go. Okay, that wasn't too bad. This was a good flight. I enjoyed this one. I really love getting into this aircraft. It was a great refresher. I hate this little glitch here with this. I don't know what that comes from, but it won't go away now. Anyway, this is a great little refresher for our upcoming live streams. Just a few days away, we're going to be conducting the longest flight that we've ever done. I thought it was the longest in the world. Time-wise, I guess it is. It's the longest time-wise flight, but it's not the longest distance flight. But apparently there's some debate about that too. But either way, it's going to be an 8,700 nautical mile flight, so it's going to be a long one, no matter how you look at it, right? So getting ready for that, but this was a lot of fun. We're going to continue this series, our global tour in the 787, and just keep trucking along. So fantastic time. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you haven't already done so, please smash that subscribe button up over, like, I don't know, 5,700 or 6,700. I can't keep up because there's so many of you, and it's amazing. God bless you all. I really appreciate it. You guys are fantastic. Don't forget you can like us on Facebook. I do post some photos up there and stuff occasionally, and several of you do communicate with me via Facebook, which is fantastic, and I try to be as responsive as I can on there. You can also follow us on Twitter at, what is it, Captain Man? The little Twitter thing's on the top of my YouTube page there anyway, so click on that, and if I can start getting enough followers over there, then we'll start getting busy on Twitter as well. And then, of course, you can follow us on Twitch at CaptainMac3588. When we live stream on Twitch and YouTube now, which is fantastic. That is a really bright light there, buddy. So it's nice that we can be able to live stream on both of those. So by all means, follow us over on Twitch. You can catch us over there, or you can catch the live streams on YouTube as well. That's going to wrap it up for this one, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. That's all. No more. So as always, keep the blue side up, unless otherwise instructed by ATC. God bless you all. Have a fantastic day.